medical attention. But because 78% of Indigenous people experience racism in healthcare, he may not get the help he needs. Become an ally. Rise above racism in healthcare.
Our family used to be so fun. Now my brother takes care of me. I miss Mom and Dad being around more. Mom says things are going to get better.
You're watching Rogers TV.
Welcome back to Gale Force Wins Season 2 on Rogers TV, where we explore the journeys of interesting people in and around Newfoundland, Labrador, Canada, and the rest of the world. Fred George was awarded the Order of Nova Scotia in 2013 and the Meritorious Service Medal in 2016 for his unwavering dedication to Canadian Armed Forces personnel, their families, and veterans. Fred George is an extraordinarily successful businessman, a proud Nova Scotian, and one of Canada's greatest philanthropists. Mr. George immigrated to Nova Scotia when he was 19, with a dream of making a better life for his family. He grew his Halifax mining company into the largest gold and silver producer in Mexico. He is listed among Canada's top 10 CEOs, receiving numerous business awards, including the Lifetime Achievement Award from the Mining Society of Nova Scotia. In 2003, Mr. George rang the opening bell at the American Stock Exchange.
Good morning, America. Gammon Lake Board of Directors and Investor, very honored today to be listed on the American Stock Exchange. And today, we're not only gonna ring this bell proudly, but triumphantly. Thank you very much, and God bless America. All right.
And in 2008, he rang the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange as Gamma Gold was listed on the New York Stock Exchange. Mr. George has also earned a high level of respect from his peers for both his business success and community leadership, and was invited by former President Bill Clinton to sit on his foundation board. Mr. George helped to build a new school for Bridgeway Academy, a local school for students with learning disabilities. The Fred George Gymnasium at the Sacred Heart School of Halifax, and the Fred George Leadership Course at St. Francis Xavier University recognize his contributions. Mr. George has long supported the Navy, veterans, military families, and Canada's peacekeeping efforts. For his dedication, he was appointed Honorary Captain of the Royal Canadian Navy and traveled to Afghanistan with Canada's military leaders to support our men and women in uniform. Fred George has built an exemplary life, making Nova Scotia a more caring place through his generous sharing of time and talents. Fred joins us on Gale Force Winds from his home in the Turks and Caicos. The interview was conducted the day after Fred and his wife organized an amazing gathering for a large number of officials from Turks and Caicos aboard HMCS Harry de Wolf while anchored off the coast of Turks and Caicos.
And welcome to another edition of Gale Force Winds. And this is an exciting one, I'm not going to lie to you. We are in the beautiful Turks and Caicos, and I can't wait to get into conversation with our next guest. I'm Alan Dale, and with me as always, my good buddy from the East End of St. John's, Jerry Carew. How are you, Jerry?
Well, you know, you always ask me that question, and it is a loaded question. We're going to get to you in a second, Fred. It is, all I can tell you is that it's been an incredible couple of days. We were in Greece 4 or 5 days ago, but yesterday, Alan, was without a doubt one of the most special days of my life. And spending 4.5 hours in a fast rescue craft with this gentleman was something that I can only dream of. So I can't wait to just talk a little bit about that yesterday and delve into this man's life.
I can't believe it, Jerry. It was one of the most incredible days of your life. When I looked over at your head was down and looked like you were going to die, but it was quite a day in the boat.
Well, here we are. We're aboard. What's this vessel called?
So this is Papa 15.
Papa 15. We're on the way to Harry the Wolf. There's a bit of a sea state. What would we call this sea state here today?
Maybe 1.5 or 2, maybe.
Oh, okay, I'm getting a little soft in my old age. I was thinking it was a bit more than that. But this is quite the adventure. We've got big boy catamaran going alongside our starboard side. We're approaching the Harry the Wolf. This is a pretty exciting experience for me. I spent time in the Navy in the mid-'80s, and I've been out over 30 years. I really appreciate everybody that's put this thing together, and I'm telling you one thing, we are proud of our sailors, and we're going to work hard today to record their stories in their office.
And here we are on board one of the rescue boats off Harry the Wolf, about to board HMCS Harry the Wolf. Quite a sea state going right now, heavy swell, but we're on one of the Rodsboro boats built right in Nova Scotia. This is a fantastic Canadian innovation. We're bouncing around the ocean like you wouldn't believe, but the seats are actually on shocks, so you don't feel a thing. This here is a real Canadian treasure, built right in Nova Scotia, and the ship we're about to go on, also built in Nova Scotia. This is all Canada, all the time, right in the middle of the Caribbean, and we're surrounded by some wonderful people with us right here. Wins the Force 8 Hometown Edition, right here on board HMCS Harry the Wolf off the coast of the Turks and Caicos in the beautiful Caribbean Sea. And what a pleasure it is to be in conversation with sailors of the Royal Canadian Navy. And I can't think of a guy that must be so proud to be standing in his shoes right today, but the commanding officer of this amazing vessel. Tell me about how you feel about the crew on board.
Well, I'm just going to say that when I came on board, I was absolutely amazed, awestruck, whatever you want to call it, about the morale and the how just great spirits the crew was in. After being at sea for 4 months, you think they'd be a little down and out, but I tell you, I've never seen a crew more ecstatic and more upbeat than this crew that's on here right now.
Fred George, why don't you take us into that boat yesterday and what was going on? Because I got to tell you, that was an impressive scene.
Well, let me tell you, Alan, I mean, God bless you both. If I knew you guys were going to bring the Gale Force Wind with you, I would have not invited you. So, I mean, I know you call yourself Gale Force Wind, and that's what we had yesterday.
Yeah.
We always have the wind here from the south, and we figured out the harbor should be flat. But yesterday it was northeasterly wind, and you can see the swell. We have 5-6 foot swell. It's a little bit hard on the ship. What a day! I mean, having Harry the Wolf, one of our newest ships, anchor here in Turks and Caicos, in the Providential, Grace Bay Beach, one of the leading beaches in the world. What an unbelievable moment for me to witness our new built ship anchor right here in the front, everybody to see.
Yeah, but to witness, Fred, but you made it happen. You didn't witness it, you made it happen. And what Jerry and I witnessed yesterday was a guy in the heat of the moment, and everything was turning against you. The ocean turned against you at the last minute to say, Fred, you're not going to make this happen. But you didn't give up, Fred. You did not give up.
As you know, Alan, I mean, give up. Failure is when you stop trying.
Right.
and doesn't exist in my vocabulary. The ocean got bigger, and the idea and the opportunity in my head got bigger also. I always said difficult, but never impossible. We will find a way.
Yeah.
And yesterday, my God, did we ever find a way. As you know, when we tried to pull the catamaran and the roller was so big and catamaran going up and down in the air and a telescope step ladder, we didn't want any accident to happen. That's why I stopped it immediately and I said, let's go to B plan. And the B plan was those ribs we built also in Nova Scotia.
Ribs being the fast rescue craft, right?
Fast rescue craft.
Which you and I and Alan spent 4.5 hours in.
4.5 hours.
Not necessarily designed for 4.5 hours in 30 degrees, correct?
Absolutely. That's not what they designed for, but that's what it took for us to do to make sure all our guests are going to be safe. And I don't care if we would have to spend 10 hours, we will never stop till we make sure the job was going to take a place is going to be perfect and flawless.
Should we get maybe get Fred? Did we talk about what we were doing?
So let me.
I don't think we got into that.
So this is a great introduction into what we're doing. So for our guests, Honorary Captain Fred George is a captain in the Royal Canadian Navy, and Fred organized Canada's newest warship, the HMCS Harry de Wolf, to visit his winter residence in the Turks and Caicos. And it all seems like a pretty easy thing to do, but let me tell you, a lot of planning went into it right up to the very last minute, and it all came off without a hitch. The sailors on that ship, they had a wonderful time. The guests from the Turks and Caicos, of which there was many, absolutely enjoyed themselves, and it came down to Captain Fred George planning. So that's why we're in conversation with Fred George, because it's guys like this that won't take no for an answer. Even when everything is turning against them, they keep on going. And that's a great way to start the podcast. Fred, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where do you come from?
Where I come from? Well, where did you want me to start?
Start way back.
Way back, 1976, when I came to Canada. 1976. This is after the civil war in Lebanon. I was 19 years of age. At that time, we were 54 students in my class. And let me tell you, 50 of them died and only 4 of us survived. So my father is a civil engineer. He brought us to Canada. And that's where it all started in Halifax, Nova Scotia.
So you came to Halifax. How old were you when you came into Halifax?
19 years old.
19 years old. And where did life start for you there?
Working at Dominion store, double shift.
Nothing wrong with Dominion.
I love it.
Right?
It was a great way to start.
Great way, for sure. So 2 shifts? Tell me about that.
2 shifts. Well, what happened is I was the oldest boys in the family. And my father, he found it too cold. You know, in the winter we arrived, it was like minus 20. We're not used to that in Lebanon.
What's the coldest it ever gets in Lebanon?
Oh my God, I mean, during the winter, you can go to Cedar Mountain, ski, and you can go down to the beach and swim. So the coldest day would be 15 degrees, 12 degrees.
But that's cold, minus 20.
Yeah, minus 20 is unheard of. So I had to find a way and get a 2 job. So I remember one of the night shift at the worker at the Dominion got sick. So they asked who would like to volunteer. So I like to volunteer. So I started work 12 to 8. And 8 o'clock I go punch my second card, 8 to 5. Go home, get there 6 o'clock. My mother cooked me a meal at 7. And you wash up, you clean up, 8:30 you go to bed. 11 she wake me up, I gotta get back to work to 12. So I did this for 2 years. I was getting 2 checks. I give check for my mother, look after the family, and I kept check for myself. That's where it all started.
So, you know, but I mean, it's one thing to be working at Dominion, but you don't get this working at Dominion. Where was your next stop?
You know, every man have a dream. And I happen to dream big. But as you know, you gotta crawl before you walk, and you gotta walk before you run. And the trick is, keep walking forward and don't stop. And what I did after that, I know how the country's built, and I appreciate Canada opening their door for us. And we keep doing this even now for all the new entrepreneurs who arrive to our country here. It's a beautiful country. We love everyone. we're multicultural. What I did at that time, Alan, be honest with you, after I finished with the Dominion store, I opened these video stores in the 80s, if you remember. Video was a big hit. Sure. People pay money to rent video. So I ended up running 14 video stores. After the video store, I opened a water company.
I'm going to stop there.
All right, there you go.
You know, and I find this, Alan, you know where I'm going with this. Entrepreneurs like yourself, Fred, they kind of gloss over the transition from a paycheck to actually starting video stores. Like, you're working at Dominion, and then you ended up with 14 video stores. How long was that idea in your head, and how long did it take you to put that into action?
You know, it's I'm one of those businessmen. I'm very quick on the draw. A lot of people, they think for probably 90 minutes and do action 10 minutes. I think 10 minutes and I do action 90 minutes. So I don't waste time. You can't waste time. You don't want one day when you're ready to die and laying on your bed and you're 99 years old and say, I wish I would have done this. I'd rather say, too bad I did this, or too bad I made that mistake. So when you have this kind of attitude and thinking forward, failure is not in your vocabulary, because you can always get the job done. I always say my motto in life, difficult but never impossible. And people equally informed seldom disagree. So I made sure everyone around me was well informed. And to be successful in business, surround yourself with the good people.
Yeah.
That's what you gotta invest in.
Right.
Don't try to do it yourself. I mean, I talked one time to Wayne Gretzky. It was a good friend of mine. We enjoy a good cigar every now and then. If you try to score the goal by yourself, you will never make it. You need the team around you. Yeah. And then you can score your goal and win in the end. And that's what I did. I built myself, I surrounded myself with very smart people, and the timing is everything. I had the right timing, the right people behind me, and that's how I made it happen.
So one video store to 14.
Yep.
How long?
That took 2 years.
Oh,
yeah.
Two years,
a little bit
Al.
longer than I wanted to. You know, so I want to be #1 in the video. And my God, I mean, we had 14 video stores in all Halifax. And
what was the name of the video company?
New Release Video.
I remember it.
Yeah. New Release Video. Then we opened Hollywood Video. Then I kept branching off to different video stores. And before Blockbuster moved in, I knew it was the time to release the video store, move on.
Right.
And at this time, the water, no one heard of drinking a bottled water, because people always use the tap.
Yeah.
And I know, reading, you know, I watched like Avion Water from France. It's what a beautiful idea. I said, we should start a water business here. And that's what I did. Because people at this time will start to go to the gym, they're not drinking pop as much, people moving into more healthy environment. And the best place to build a water company was Sugarloaf Mountain next to Mount St. next to Cenevex.
Right.
Not Cenevex. Was a beautiful Sugarloaf Mountain. We were doing all the private label for Superstore, for Walmart USA. I flew to Bentonville, USA, and we struck a deal with Walmart USA, and they were buying like 18 containers a week.
What was that like, Fred, striking a deal with Walmart back in the day?
That was big.
Yeah, it was big.
It's another stepstone. And you want to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Then, after that, end up selling the company and moved into the gold business. And the gold story, that's a story by itself.
Well, a question. So you sold the water business and moved into gold. How long between that transition?
Well, to be honest with you, I know nothing about gold business. As you know, I was in the video, then I went to water. So I was approached with a company in Halifax at that time called Gammon Lake. And very good, prominent business people, lawyers, doctors, and engineer team. And they asked me to raise them the first $1 million. At that time, they were doing a play in Seabright, the old Seabright property, you know, Terry Coughlin Sr. used to own. And they were trying to mine gold in Nova Scotia. So what I did, I believed in these business friends who I know, so I raised them the first $1 million from my friend, my close friend. So my landscaper will put 50,000. I mean, my people like Tom who own Tim Hortons store, Wendy store, they put money. So I collected from friend and family $1 million. After 1 year, Briax took place, and we all know the Briax story. It was one of the biggest disasters in the history where the stock plunged from a few $100s to a penny. So I got approached by the Gammon team, and they were going to shut down the company at that time. And they said, tell my investors to write off their losses. Well, my investor, they had 20,000 RSP. They got no gain to write their losses off. How can I go to my friend and say, you just lost your money? So I couldn't live with myself. So what I did, I approached the team, said, gentlemen, if you want to leave, don't shut it down. I become a president chairman, and I'll show you how to do it during a tough time. And that's what started it all.
But you must have really felt the pressure. You've got your landscaper investing the life savings probably. You felt the pressure?
100%. I could not face none of my friends.
No.
They all put the money because they believe in me. I've been success in everything I did. And they witnessed it happen along the way. And when I asked him, put a 50,000, I'll give you guys' name. Ronnie Albert. He ran RJP Landscaping. He put the first $50,000 and 50 cents a share, we give him 100,000 share. How can you look at the guy and say, oh, Ronnie, you just lost all your RSP money? I couldn't live by myself. And so many other friends and family, I can go on and on. We got a list of 1,000 investors. So that's what really drives me into, I'll go in there and I will find a way.
Yeah. Because it's not about you then, right, Fred? It's about all those friends and family, and it's bigger than you, right?
Does that mean I fail?
Yeah.
And fail is not in my vocabulary. I had to find a way. I always said difficult but not impossible. If they can fly and land on the moon, I'm sure I can find a way and fix that gold company.
Right.
You know, Barrick's not smarter than us.
Yeah.
Or any other big company. So then I joined the company, and to give it to you in the short, in 5 years, we took the company from 5 million to 2.4 billion. Wow. And I become the first Canadian in Nova Scotia and in Newfoundland and the PI and New Brunswick to ring the New York Stock Exchange. It was the proudest day of my life.
Tell me about that feeling. Tell me about going down there and ringing that bell.
Oh my God.
You showed us a video of that. You rang that bell. How many times did you hit it?
Well, let me tell you what happened. They changed the law after we hit it. They asked my wife, Nellie, what's your lucky number? And my wife said 13. Excuse me? So whatever your wife's lucky number, you ring the bell. And they didn't expect my wife to say 13 because 13, they don't like that number. Some elevator didn't have 13 floor. But my wife was born on the 13. It was the luckiest day when I met her. So if 13 your lucky number, that means you don't have a bad number. So I went on and I rang that bell 13 times, standing ovation of everyone. It was a perfect day for us, the most proud day in my life. Fred George, who started working at Dominion store, all the way to the New York Stock Exchange. I mean, my family and I, we were very proud.
I can only imagine, Fred. I can feel the excitement now when you talk about it.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what it was like in the day. Now, you mentioned your wife and the luckiest day of your life meeting her. Jerry and I are fortunate. We've got very supportive spouses that allow us to do and dream and do things that we want to do. I met your wife. I had the pleasure of meeting your wife last night on board a Canadian warship off the coast of the Turks and Caribbean. Tell me about what that support and that grounding means to you.
I mean, let me tell you this. Having our Canadian ship, as an honorary captain of the Royal Canadian Navy, my job is to open lots of doors for our Navy personnel. My job is to make sure everyone around the world know about our Canadian Navy. Our Canadian Navy, they do unbelievable job around the world, but most of the time goes unnoticed. And that used to hurt me a lot. We want, we sometimes complain about our men, women in uniform. But if a disaster struck, we say, where's our Navy? Why they're not ready? or where's our men women uniform? They expect them to be ready at all time, but nobody wants to do anything to support them during the flat time. In my job, I was going to make sure everyone must know how good and how professional our Navy and Royal Canadian Navy are. And yesterday, Alan, you witnessed yourself, was that Gale wind force storm, was those big roller. Our boys and men and women in uniform was the Royal Canadian Navy. They did unbelievable job for our 50 distinguished guests. As you know, we had almost every minister, to governor, to premier, to chief of police was on that boat. And everybody learned how professional as the Royal Canadian Navy is. And I'm proud to see that. And at the same time, our ship, Harry DeWolf, now know the water of Turks and Caicos in case they ever need it for any emergency. This island is good friend of the Navy. That's what I do.
100%, Fred. And not only that, but I sense that you've got a real passion for the Turks and Caicos too. You love this place as well. You love Canada and you love this place as well. And I watched those ministers of government and the police chiefs and the commissioners and all interacting with you. You seem to be like the gel in the room that was making all those connections. Tell me what the Turks and Caicos means to you.
You know, Turks and Caicos, first thing, it's a British colony. And as we are Royal Canadian Navy, as you know, we also was the British like a Commonwealth.
Yeah.
So having, and I believe one time Canada was gonna buy Turks and Caicos.
That's what I was telling you the other day.
Yeah. And that was the biggest mistake we did. We let the British take it.
That's right.
And that's only 3 hours straight of flight from Halifax.
Yeah.
We should have had that beautiful island. Grace Bay Beach, it ranked one of the best beaches around the world. And the people here, they're so nice, they're so polite. I mean, at the Provincial, only 12,000 personnel. You know, during the pandemic, it was a great place to be. If Canada would have an island, our citizens wouldn't have to go to different places and get refused on all these different ports and airports. We could have had our own island. So that's why I choose Turks and Caicos. It's belong to the British, it's great people. Everyone's very nice, as you witnessed yesterday. We had the whole government visited our ship, and they were so proud to see the Royal Canadian Navy here. And now my dream came true. I got my Royal Canadian Navy with the Turkish and Caicos government. They're all very close friends, as they all work together as one team.
Well, I mean, you pulled it off. There's no doubt about it. You pulled that off. You had the Canadian Navy and all those leaders of this country in one place at one time, and it was successful.
Well, I just want to say that the issue, and I don't think we've talked about it, was that the ship was not alongside. It was actually at sea.
At sea.
I don't think we mentioned that. Did we at the beginning?
No.
No, we didn't.
So that's why, Fred, this was a very challenging maneuver, right?
Well, that's what I want to prove to the world, what our Royal Canadian Navy is capable of doing. You see, the dock here is located in Grand Turks, but the action, it happened here in Provincial in Grace Bay Beach. So I want our ship to come here, and even knowing there's no dock, I said we can do it just on anchor. And yesterday we didn't even have to anchor because the wind was a little bit high. As I mentioned before, you brought with you that gale force wind.
It follows us everywhere.
God bless you.
Just so you know, Fred, we try to bring a positive experience. Gale force winds, there's no D.
There's no D. That's
right?
why I'm adding
Although
D
we
to
brought
it.
a D yesterday.
But you know what? Again, we showcase
Right.
our RCN, how capable they were during this really rough sea. We'd be able to pluck these 50 guests from our ribs right to on the top, the deck on the Harry DeWolf. It was an unbelievable scene. This is how the boat go down in the water. We're gonna lower them down, and we're gonna bring them up. We're gonna bring all our guests down like tonight. So we're gonna make it happen. Here we go, it's in the water. And they were so impressed. And now they assure themselves, if we ever need someone, it's the Royal Canadian Navy. If they can do this with ease, this is who we need to be friends with. And that's what we accomplished to do yesterday, as you saw. And at the same time, let's not forget, my wife, which is one of the best sommelier in Canada, And God bless her, she brought all the Nova Scotia sparkling on Harry the Wolf before.
I could see her in the background there, waving to her.
Yeah, waving to her, yeah. And you saw, you witnessed yesterday how she demonstrated to everyone live on the island here how great the sparkling is. And she did it in such a professional way. I wish I can repeat it, but it's not my motto. As you know, I always enjoy a good cigar, but Nelly, she did a good job promoting Nova Scotia yesterday on Harry the Wolf. The crew, the whole crew who did unbelievable, exceptional job. Please round of applause for the crew who did a phenomenal job. And now what we're gonna do, we're gonna start this part, the ship, and we're gonna start line up the first 12 guests to go, and this way we can make it home safely before we get dark. Thank you all for coming. Enjoy the rest of the evening, and we're gonna be starting the sparking momentarily. Thank you so much, and thank you for coming.
Not only promoting the Navy, you're promoting your country, your province. Everywhere you go, good things are following you around. What's next? What's on the horizon? What are you building next?
As you know, there's always something on the horizon, but this is, we're gonna leave it as a surprise for your audience for the next podcast,
yes.
for the next episode.
Fred, there's one thing about you. There's a lot of episodes.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of episodes to be to look into. I've heard stories of you hitting golf balls blindfolded with Bill Clinton looking on in awe. I've heard incredible stories of things that you've done. We'll leave those for another time because a lot of people are going to want to hear about it. Fred, I want to leave the podcast with my own thoughts. What I witnessed yesterday was incredibly impressive. I saw a Navy that wasn't willing to give up, and I saw an honorary captain that wasn't willing to give up. And at the end of the day, we gave the sailors an amazing experience, and you gave the people of Turks and Caicos an amazing experience. You celebrated Nova Scotia, celebrated Canada. Everybody won. It was an incredible thing to watch unfold, even as we were getting bounced around for 4 hours in that boat. I knew in the back of my mind it was going to happen because I could see that you weren't going to give up, and that was incredibly impressive. So Fred, thanks very much for everything that you do for our country, for our Navy, and for the province of Nova Scotia. And I like to leave the podcast with my own piece of advice, and quite frankly, the world needs more Fred George. Thanks very much, Fred.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Jim.
And I'm going to say something as well. Fred, you know, I'm incredibly proud of those Canadian sailors.
Yes.
And this might sound a little weird, but because I don't know you. I know of you, but I'm proud of you. Like, a young boy from Lebanon came and did what he's done. We scratched the surface, ladies and gentlemen. Scratched it. We scratched it with a butter knife. Fred, I'm proud of you. I'm just so happy that you agreed to share a little bit of this with us. So thank you.
Jerry. Thank you so much, you and Alan, and thanks for both of you coming all the way from Canada to Turks and Caicos to really cover that wonderful story for our newest ship, Harry the Wolf. I'm very proud of both of you. You guys both are. You made us very proud Canadian. Thank you so much for coming.
Very kind.
Thank you.
"35 years ago, I was off the coast of Australia on board a Canadian destroyer. They took a picture of me, they sent it back to the Newfoundland Telegram, and that was called a hometowner. Boy, my mom was proud. Jerry and I have replicated that for 2022, and we call it Force 8 Hometowners, where we go to the deployed sailors of the Royal Canadian Navy, wherever they are in the world, and tell their stories so their moms and dads can be just as proud." Gale Force Winds had the privilege to be in conversation with sailors on board HMCS Harry de Wolf while they were deployed in the Caribbean. What follows is a series of snippets of them sending messages back home to their loved ones. Hello, Mom and Dad. Hope you're doing well in Port Alberni, British Columbia. Cousins and family still there. Donald, always think about you. All the best, and go Port Alberni. That's it.
It's great that there's interest in the Navy and everything like that, and every time we're out here, we're always thinking of back home and hoping to get back soon.
Friends or family you want to name back there?
I'll do a shout out to my mom and dad back in Edmonton, Carmen and Murray. You know, you guys are the reason why I'm out here, so.
Fantastic.
I'm going to do a shout out to my mom and dad, Mary and George, Walter in St. John's. How you doing? I'll be home soon, so.
There you go. Big shout out to moms and dads right across Canada.
Hi, I'm Lieutenant Commander Ryan Bell, and I'm from Caledonia, Ontario, and I'm the executive officer on board HMCS Harry DeWolf. Navy is a wonderful adventure, and you should really think about joining.
Oh, well, I'll send messages to Toronto and Halifax, so I want to say hi to everyone who's watching this, and also just in general to people who are thinking about joining the military. I think if you have that thought, you know, go for it.
I just wanted to say hello to my family, my mother and father, my siblings, my older brother, my 3 younger sisters, and all of their families.
And they're all back in Cape Breton?
My parents and my 3 sisters are back in Cape Breton, and my brother is in Dartmouth in Halifax. So.
Yeah, so je voudrais dire à toute ma famille un bon bonjour, puis j'espère que vous allez bien à la maison. Écoutez, vous allez avoir vous allez avoir des nouvelles de moi bientôt, puis on va se revoir.
Anything you want to say to the folks back home? And there's a lot of them.
There are a lot of folks back home. I think they mostly know everything that I'd like to say to them. At least the people who. Oh wait, are we talking about my folks
Your
or
folks.
the general? Okay,
Your folks.
so my folks, I would just like to say that I'm feeling happy. I'm surrounded by some incredible people right now, and also the crew. And I know that they're doing well as well, and that's what matters most to me.
Hey, Sudbury, keep watching. This podcast is fantastic. They feature a lot of Royal Canadian Navy personnel on their podcast, also a lot of other influential people. And thank you for your support over the years. I couldn't have done it without you. Merci.
It's great to be here. I miss everybody back home. It's been my family. They've supported me through my career, and they're the only reason that I'm able to do what it is that I can do. My wife and my kids, I miss them every day, but luckily they understand what it is that Dad does, and I get that support from home. So thank you to my family. Thank you.
I just like to say thank you to my family for all their continued support and everything. I know I make them proud every day, and you know it's I can't wait to see them next when I get back.
Yeah.
I'm Sailor First Class Renix, Andrew Renix. I'm a naval communicator here on board HMCS Harry DeWolf. I'm originally from just outside of Toronto in Mississauga. No, just happy to be here, happy to do my job.
There you go. Well, that's wonderful.
I'm Sailor Second Class Brazier Paul. I'm bosun on board HMCS Harry DeWolf. Just to say I'm doing well and having a great time.
Yeah, well done, mate. Well done.
Moi, je vais le dire en français. Je voulais saluer ma mère, mes amis qui sont à Québec. Je suis pas partie très longtemps, mais je m'ennuie. Puis à chaque fois que je pars, je m'ennuie beaucoup. Puis je voulais surtout terminer en donnant un gros bisou à mon fils Hendrix. Ma mère s'ennuie, puis je pense à toi.
Très bien.
Well, bon, j'espère que vous avez une aussi belle température qu'ici. Je pense pas, non. Considérant qu'il fait autour de 30-35 degrés dans le milieu des Caraïbes avec un... Bon, là, il y a un peu de nuages, mais ce matin, il faisait quand même pas mal clair et... Bref, on en profite. J'ai pas besoin d'aller à Cuba cette année. Je vais avoir pogné tous mes coups de soleil que j'aurais pu imaginer si j'avais été dans le sud. Fait que ouais, bref, j'espère que on se voit bientôt. Je devrais être à Québec pour Québec City autour du début juin. Donc, on va avoir l'occasion de se voir à ce moment-là.
Très bien, très bien.
Okay, well, hello to my family, Cody. I hope you guys are all well. I'll see you guys soon. I love you.
Hi there, Winnipeg. Hi, Mom. Hi, sisters. I'm having a time of my life here in HMCS Harry DeWolf, and if anybody interested in joining the forces, give it a try.
Sa lahat po ng mga Filipino, try nyo din po mag-join ng military. Free po siya. Maganda po yung mga opportunities. Wala po kayong mawawala sa inyo. So, give it a shot. Give it a shot.
Hello there, mga kababayan ko sa Pilipinas, sa Winnipeg and sa Canada. marami talagang opportunities sa Canadian Armed Forces and talagang welcoming sila dito sa forces and yeah, sa inyo lang.
Well, another wonderful edition of Gale Force Winds, Force 8 Hometown Edition, right here on the flight deck of HMCS Harry DeWolf. An absolute pleasure to be talking to sailors of the Royal Canadian Navy. And I can tell you this, Canada needs, the world needs more HMCS Harry DeWolf. Canada needs more people like you. So thank you very much, Caitlin and Vinny.
Thank you very much.
In episode number 116, we introduced you to Fred George, a passionate Canadian who makes a positive impact in whatever he tackles. If you have not seen or heard that episode, we encourage you to do so before you continue with this one. In that episode, there was a reference to an astounding golf shot that Fred executed blindfolded while Bill Clinton looked on. What follows is Fred's account of that amazing evening.
Heard stories of you hitting golf balls blindfolded with Bill Clinton looking on in awe. I've heard incredible stories of things that you've done. We'll leave those for another time because a lot of people are going to want to hear about it. Well, Jerry, here we are in beautiful Bedford, Nova Scotia, and look, here we have Mr. and Mrs. George. How are you folks?
Welcome, you made it.
What a beautiful evening it is, and thank you for inviting us to your property.
Absolutely.
Tell us where we are located right now.
Well, in Alley, in your little haven, Bedford, Nova Scotia, right in the end of Shore Drive. This is our little nest over here. We love this area. This is our home. This is my yachts over there, and this is the two-part green.
This is the beautiful Bedford Basin.
Yeah.
Bedford Basin is a pretty special place.
Gorgeous.
There's no doubt about it.
Nice little spot.
Bedford Yacht Club there. Look at all the sailing boat right now coming here, Jerry. Unbelievable picture. The sunset with the sailing boat. You're right here in the end of the basin, and from here you can take your yacht and go downtown and have a dinner.
Well, this is just as beautiful as the Turks and Caicos a few months ago. It's spectacular.
Unbelievably beautiful.
Thank you for inviting Gale Force Winds into your home. Okay.
I got to keep up with my golf game. As you know, I told you last time about story with the President Clinton when we had a $25,000 bet. And this was unbelievable story. So if you want me to tell you about it now, all the detail, I can take you in and show you exactly where it took place and how I made that blindfolded golf shot. Blindfolded. 275 yards.
Now, Fred, you told me about that down in the Turks and Caicos.
Yes.
I didn't believe you.
Yeah.
We had to come here to see it unfold. Are you going to walk us through the whole thing?
I'm going to walk you through the whole thing. Why don't we take the golf cart? We can go. If you want to come with me now, we're going to go where this thing took place.
Let's go see it.
Let's do it.
Do we have a caddy, Fred?
We have a caddy. They'll come pick
He's
this one
also
up.
a cameraman.
Cameraman.
We have a cameraman and a caddy. Here we go, Jerry.
As if I'm not busy enough.
Let's go. You grab the front, Jerry will take the back. Fred, how long have you had this place out in Bedford?
I've been here almost 30 years now.
Is that right?
Yeah, beautiful.
It's unbelievable. So this is right up in the very end of the Bedford Basin.
It's gorgeous. This is like a little heaven for me.
Yeah.
This is where we decide to build Nellie and I, and probably that's where we'll retire.
Halifax has been a big part of your life, hasn't it?
Halifax has been a beautiful place for me. We love Halifax, Nova Scotia. We are now Haligonian, and this place is a little haven. That's what we love about it.
And it's the home of the East Coast, the Royal Canadian Navy, which is also a big part of your life, Fred.
Absolutely. Royal Canadian Navy. This is like they've been a part of my life for the last 20-some years. So this is where this thing took place.
Fred, don't hit that Lamborghini, whatever.
We don't want to hit that Lamborghini.
Oh,
that's
there's
right.
two of them.
25 CEO arrived here with the President Clinton after we had a beautiful dinner inside to have a big competition here.
In this space right
here. In this space here. This is the screen, and I can turn it on and show you all the detail.
And so, Fred, it all happened right here, right in this space.
Right in this beautiful room, as you can see.
Okay, so I need you to tell me exactly how you did it. So you said the bet was $25,000.
That's right.
Tell me what it was.
It started all, I was playing a game of golf with President Clinton at Pebble Beach and Fox Harbor. Frank McKenna and I and President Clinton, and I couldn't hit the golf ball. I just couldn't hit the game. The golf wasn't for me. I was always in the military, as you know, marksman.
And rumor around the Navy is honorary Captain Fred George was one of the top shots. And here's just a highlight of what he's capable of.
Are you ready? Stand by. Time 273.
273. I was a pilot, diver, skier. Golf was too slow of a game for me. You know, you hit the golf ball, nobody hit back at you. That's what I was telling the president. And he goes to me, my God, Fred, you can't even make contact with that ball. Smart businessman like you can't even hit the ball. I said, Mr. President, I didn't like the game. But if you want, all I need 2 weeks practice, and I will beat you guys all. And of course, you know, when somebody said that to a few golfers in 2 weeks, ha, 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 they all start laughing. They said, come on, we've been practicing for 20 years. You want to beat us in 2 weeks? I said, you know what? In 2 weeks, you're going to be in Halifax. He was coming to have a dinner at my place with 25 CO. And I said, in those 2 weeks, I'll be ready for the competition.
So 2 weeks practice, you said you could beat him.
I can beat him. Beat everybody.
How did you practice for it, Fred? What did you do?
I got myself that beautiful simulator you see here.
Okay.
And I came for 2 weeks every day, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. 3,000 ball every day. I didn't know you had to wear a glove. I was ripping my skin. Then I started wearing 2 gloves. I was breaking ball after you hit 1,000 times, it will break. So, and without bringing any instructor here or anyone, I want to prove to everyone, difficult but not impossible. As I always said to you, it could be done. So the trick was you come here and keep hitting the ball over and over and over again. And I remember telling myself, this club have to go from one ear to the other ear. And most people say, what do you mean? Let me demonstrate to you.
Show me.
So if you are here, most people they will hit the golf, you know, they'll go like that and they do this, and that's not how it should be done. This one should go all the way, wrap it around from one ear to the other ear. So what I used to do here every day, put the ball over here and do something like this. And you finish here, that's how you gotta finish. So when you do that full swing 3,000 times every day, eventually your body, muscle memory, get the hang of it. Now that's half of the story. While I was practicing, I said, how about if I surprise everybody? So everyone asked me, well, what are you going to do? How are you going to surprise them? So why don't I try to beat everybody blindfolded? That's what started the whole things was in my head.
So you bet everybody that you could drive further than them.
Absolutely.
And then you added on top of it that you do it blindfolded.
I did that at the event.
At the event?
See, at the event, what happened is, picture now, 25 CO. I said, you guys remember when I made a bet with everyone, I need 2 weeks and I will beat you all? They said, yeah, we remember. I said, you on for tonight. I want everybody to write check, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. But I want to earn those 25,000. It's 25 of you against me, 1%. If any of you outdrive me, I will write a check for $25,000.
Oh my God.
So the President Clinton is sitting there, and I'll show you a picture where the President Clinton was sitting, and Frank McKenna was sitting there, and everybody said, wow, competition is on. So now what happened was, the first guy got in, and I don't know if you're a golfer or not, Alan, Jerry, I'm not.
My cameraman's a golfer.
Oh, he is a golfer.
Yeah, I'm a golfer.
So now, you know, Jerry, if you're a golfer, and another foursome came to watch you, it changed your swing. Right. So picture one of the guys just stepped in, the first guy, and not another foursome watch him. You got the President Clinton. Right. You got Frank McKenna of the world. You got every CEO, Secret Service, CIA, Halifax Police. And I would say, Alan, step in and hit the ball. You got one swing, one ball. And we all had suit on, necktie. This ball will get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller.
You're nervous.
The first 10 guys, they couldn't get off the tee.
No.
They couldn't get off the tee. 80 yards, 90 yards. Then the president stopped the game. He said, hold on a second, guys, hold on a second. He said, I played with Mr. George 2 weeks ago. He can't hit the ball. All you have to do, you guys trash player. Just make contact. You will beat him. And sure enough, it worked. And the first guy came, bang, 200 yard, 220 yard, 230 yard, 240 yard.
Were you getting nervous at this point?
Nah, I mean, nervous. I was just having a fun with him. And I said, let them do whatever they want to do. I already have it in my mind what I'm going to do. And then the best guy, I remember Terry Cooper. He was here, he's a hockey player, very strong guy. And he's the guy, believe me or not, and this guy, someday we should bring him here and put him with us in that video. Before the 2 weeks, he showed me how to stand, how to hold the golf, how to hold like the club in my hand, how you're gonna put your finger across, all that stuff. He showed me how to stand to hold it, and he said, good luck for you, in 2 weeks we'll be back. So he came in, he put the ball, and he had a 254 yard. Unbelievable, right. 254 yard. So now he walked next to me, and he walked by me like this, and the President Clinton said, and then he goes, all right, Mr. George, let me see you beat in this one.
Right.
So then I looked at the President. The President looked at me, he said, looks like you're gonna write a check for $25,000. And I said, you know what, Mr. President? When people expect you to bring a rabbit out of the hat, you better come up with an elephant. And he goes, an elephant? How are you gonna pull an elephant? Like, I'd be happy with squirrel, with anything now. How are you gonna beat this one? I played with you 2 weeks ago. You can't even make contact. I said, that was 2 weeks ago. So I stepped in here, 25 CO watching, so I want to up the ante. So I looked at them all. I said, all right, gentlemen, you're all my friend. You know how I play. How about you double your bet, 2,000 each, and I will kick your ass in front of the President William Jefferson Clinton blindfolded.
So now you're up to $50,000. Yeah. President's watching.
Yes.
And you say, I'm going to put a blindfold on.
100%.
Were you nervous at this point?
No, you can't be nervous. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Some people came to me and asked me, like Terry Cooper. He said, can I talk to you? I said, yeah, go ahead. He said, have you asked yourself, blindfolded? You remember when President was telling you, keep your eye on the ball, if you lift your head, you miss? Blindfolded? Have you asked yourself, what about if I miss and fall on the floor? I said, Terry, if you ask yourself, what about if I miss? Don't hit no more because you're going to miss. You doubted yourself. You must be certain. You see, our brain is the most powerful tool in our body. All you have to do is trust your brain, and your brain will deliver that to you. So at that time, I said, all right, we're ready. Everyone was ready. Remember the president?
So they're all stood here.
Everybody stood here.
President seated there?
President seated. Everyone seated. We got a picture. I'll show you all the detail. In the picture,
you put the blindfold on.
Put the blindfolded on, and you can hear a pin drop in the room. Pin drop. And as you know, I can show you something here.
Okay.
So most of them at that time, they will take this and they will go like this. Most of them. Like most players, that's what they're gonna do. They go, they hold it up and do. So what I did from here, watch this. I torqued it like this, like this, like this, like this, like this, like this, all the way to here. And then whack, I spin it all the way to here. So the torque was so powerful, when I hit that ball, it was like a gunshot. All I heard the president, good God, good God, good God, good God, and all the ball on the screen, and my ball flew 275 yards.
Wow.
Blindfolded.
Wow.
You should hear the roar in the room. It went crazy.
Now, Fred, a lot of people are going to be watching. They're going to say, no way. How do we prove this?
You know what? Why don't you step here? We made a photo shoot.
Show me over this way.
Let me show you over this way. Let me show you over this way.
Well, here are the pictures.
Here's the President Clinton, Frank McKenna, and this is all 25 CO, and here's me blindfolded. So now, from blindfolded golf shot, as you can see over here, it cleaned it right off the tee, and you can see the tee still moving. And after I hit the shot, look what everybody was doing. They just couldn't believe it. Look at the president. Look how much he, look at Frank McKenna. Frank McKenna just laughing his head off. And that's Terry Cooper there who hit the 254-yard shot. He just couldn't believe it. And look at this here. When we came over here, he wanted to give me a hug. And we were so excited. Like, it was unbelievable night. Unbelievable night.
When the president went back home, what happened then? He must be telling his buddies about this.
He was telling everyone about the shot. And next day, you know what he did? We flew to Toronto. Me, Frank McKenna, President Clinton, we had a meeting with President George Bush. And when we first met the President Bush, I remember President Clinton, he hugged me. He said, Frank, come here. We have to tell the President Bush what you did last night. And he looked at the president and he told him the whole blindfolded golf story. It was an unbelievable, unbelievable moment. And you know what he did? He sent me a beautiful letter, handwritten letter, with a 3 golf ball with the Oval Office stamp on it.
You're
and his
kidding.
name on it. Yeah. And the letter read, Dear Fred, this golf ball for the best blindfolded golfer I ever know. You know what?
Again now, Fred, these golf stories have a tendency to live on in legends in a person's mind. Do you have any proof of this at all?
Oh,
Where's
yeah.
the letter?
Take a picture. Letter's right there.
You're kidding me.
Here's a letter. And here's the golf ball. It's President Oval Office stamp.
Right from the Oval Office.
Right from the Oval Office. And this one here, as you can see, comes directly from President Clinton. And here's what the letter read. Dear Fred, these are for the best blindfolded golfer I know. Best Bill Clinton.
Well, I got to tell you this, Fred. That's probably one of the best golf stories I've ever heard. And I live in Prince Edward Island. There's lots of good tales over there about golf.
Yeah.
But this is one of the better ones.
I mean, I remember the president, you know, like picture now, they are here behind me and I'm here. And he asked me one question. He said, tell me, how much did you practice blindfolded? And what was your success rate? That was a good question. I said, Mr. President, I mean, I hit 10, I missed 5, I hit 5. I missed 6, I hit 4. He said, my God, man. He said, you had 50-50 chance, and you still took the shot for $50,000. I said, you ask, what's the difference between me and all the other CEO? Even if I would have 1% chance, I still would have took the shot. See, and then they were asking me a question, how did you manage to do it blindfolded? I said, I can teach you all how to do blindfolded stuff in 30 seconds. They said, what do you mean? I said, all right, here you guys all here. I said, how about close your eye? And everyone closed their eye. I said, how about touch your nose? And everybody touched their nose. I said, open your eye. I said, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do this? Because you believe you can do it. So the trick of the shot, you must believe. If you don't believe, if you hesitate, you will miss.
It's a pretty good lesson for life.
Absolutely. Anything you do in this life, you must believe you can do it.
Okay, Fred, this has been yet another great chapter in the Fred George saga.
There you go.
What do you think will be next for us? What is the next story that we'll hear about?
Oh my God, I mean, I got so many stories, I don't know where to begin. Next time, we have to find the stories and just tell you, we'll surprise you. Put it this way.
We'll put a teaser out, and there'll be another story to come.
This is a $50,000 blindfolded golf shot. Now you know how it's done. You gotta believe.
Thank you for inviting us to your beautiful home right here in Bedford, Nova Scotia. And as always, real pleasure to chat with you, Fred. Another wonderful conversation on Gale Force Winds with Honorary Captain Fred George.
We love you. Thank you so much, both of you, for coming. And I know you guys didn't believe me, but seeing is believing. For you guys to see the picture, read the letter, I'm sure you have no more hesitating and you'll believe. Thank you for coming.
Good. Jerry, that was a fantastic episode. I love being at Fred's house. I love talking to him. And then I love the whole editing with him as well. How about you?
Yeah, well, look, firstly, I want to mention the message he gave. Anything you can visualize and believe in your head, you can make happen. This is why we created Gale Force Winds, exactly for a story like this.
Thank you for tuning in to Gale Force Winds Season 2 on Rogers TV, where we focus on conversations with leaders, business owners, and change makers that inspire. Please tune in next week.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command.